Welcome to the Weather Gurus podcast for June 28, 2023. I'm your host, Tony. Please subscribe to this channel, The Weather Guru, for the latest updates on the Atlantic, Pacific basins, as well as the lower 48 United States weather. Thank you for your support. Right now, you're looking at a picture of Hurricane Adrian out in the Pacific Ocean. Hurricane Adrian is a Category 1 storm with winds around 85 miles an hour. It is continuing to strengthen here a little bit as of the latest 3 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time advisory. Minimum pressures at 986 millibars, maximum sustained winds once again at 80 miles an hour. It's moving slowly west at 6 miles an hour. The good news about Adrian is that it is moving out to sea here, and it's going to weaken and disintegrate, dissolve by Monday of this coming holiday weekend. So Adrian will no longer be a threat to anybody but shipping and mariner interests out off the coast of western Mexico, and those off the coast of Baja, creating some swells. Baja California, creating some swells of that nature. Now, elsewhere in the Atlantic Basin, it's quiet. We do have one area that's the remnants of Cindy around Bermuda, a few hundred miles southeast of Bermuda Islands here. Cindy remnants has a low chance of development through 48 hours and through 7 days, 10-20% here, as you can see. It's going to get absorbed basically in this mid-level trough that's coming across Bermuda, approaching Bermuda, and it's not going to be able to regenerate as previously thought. So there's no tropical cyclones in the Atlantic at this time, nothing in the Caribbean Sea or in the Gulf of Mexico at this time, so it's pretty clear. We don't expect tropical development during the next 7 days. There's a little wave coming off the African coast, but the wind shear is very strong in the Atlantic right now, and so that's going to prohibit any development. And once again, in the Eastern Pacific, we have Hurricane Adrian, Category 1 there, and we have another area of interest behind Hurricane Adrian that's going to have a high chance of development, as you see here, and 70% chance in 48 hours, 7 days, and 90% chance. So this will be our next named B storm for the Eastern Pacific. And look for the Eastern Pacific to heat up. Once again, I said this in the last video, the Eastern Pacific basin in terms of hurricanes, because that's where the El Nino is at, that basin is going to heat up and start having more named storms as we get into mid-July and August. They're going to go through the names quickly, more so quickly than the Atlantic, but that's yet to be seen, tentatively speaking. So, looking at the National Weather Service hazards here, courtesy of Pivotal Weather and the National Weather Service itself, it's just been a lot of heat. We're still under this heat dome, this high pressure that's sinking on the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. So, if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, Texarkana, Shreveport, Oil City, down by Alexandria, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, if you're up in the Greenville, Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee area, and Jonesboro, Arkansas, all these areas are going to be affected by excessive heat. It's going to be 110 degrees, feeling like 110, 115. And then elsewhere, you also have heat advisories here in areas like Houston, Beaumont, Laredo, Brownsville, McAllen, El Paso, into New Mexico, southern New Mexico, and up through Kansas, Wichita, Topeka, St. Louis, Jefferson City, all those areas, and into Oklahoma City, and those areas along the Red River Valley. Once again, take precautions, drink water, of course, stay indoors if you can, much of your work, and all that kind of nature. We have excessive heat warnings in California. We don't want to forget the Central Joaquin Valley. So if you're coming along the 99 freeway, let's say from Fresno to Modesto, up through the Central Valley there, Tracy and all those areas, Eureka, all those central areas in the valley, you're under excessive heat warning too, and watches as well. East of San Francisco, even Oakland, and all those areas are going to be included. Unless you're right along the coast, like say Monterey and Santa Rosa and all that, you're not included. But if you're along in the Central Valley, you want to take precautions, okay? And there's also some flood watches here, just briefly, in Montana, Big Sky Country, extending into northern Wyoming. That's because they've had a lot of showers that have been coming off the high plains there. And we're going to take a look at radar scope here. We're going to take a look at one of those warnings here, these thunderstorms that are popping up here. This is an area here in Canada. We have some thunderstorms here in Canada here, and it's extending from Winnipeg down into Wisconsin and northern Minnesota here. North Dakota, and into North Dakota here. There is some severe thunderstorm warnings here in effect for that area, as well as into Saskatchewan, Canada. If you're around Devil's Lake, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for the hour here. These severe thunderstorm, the criteria once again is 58 miles an hour winds, hail to 1/4 size, 1 inch size or greater, and that's the severe thunderstorm warning criteria. So we indicated 60 mile an hour wind gusts and quarter size hail, radar indicated, and hail damage to vehicles. So if you're around the area of Devil's Lake, Lakewood Park, and St. Michael, and this is in Benson and southwestern southeastern Benson County and southwestern Ramsey County and northeastern North Dakota. So this is it right here. I'll put this into motion here, and we can see the cells here. They kind of have this bowing out effect here, and what that means is a strong straight line winds here as it heads eastward into western Minnesota. So if you're in Devil's Lake, Bloomfield, Dominion City, all these areas here are experiencing a little bowing echo here, a bow echo of these storms here as they continue to progress eastward here. So this is going to be progressing eastward. Your severe thunderstorm warnings in this area, these all expire within the hour. So another 50 minutes, another hour or two here. The only one here in North Dakota, this expires in 30 minutes here. And this is for Devil's Lake, in that area around there in North Dakota, as these storms bow out toward the southeast here. Some pretty severe storms. You can see the hail cores in here as depicted on the radar here with these dark purples here. I'll circle it for you. These storms here have the hail core here, and we can look at the reflectivity here. We can look at the velocity, and I can show you the straight line winds here. You can see there's a coupling right there. If I pause it, there's a coupling right here around Devil's Lake. There's a coupling of red greens that are touching each other. So straight line winds, kind of a broad rotation, but it's producing some hail there. We go to super red velocity. You can see it's straight line winds, kind of almost like a bow echo. Not quite as the retro because it doesn't extend that long. It only extends in one state, and that's South Dakota. But you can see it right there on the radar. Now, there's also severe thunderstorm warning. That's only in Canada, like I said, in Saskatchewan. We also have some in Nebraska, Wyoming. We're going to take a look at the one in Wyoming. This is for Laramie County. If you're in Laramie County, and this is hail coming down, 1.5-inch hail coming down. This expires in 45 minutes. If you're in 31 miles northeast of Cheyenne, I was moving over Gun Barrel in Wyoming. Baseball-sized hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind gust here. And the estimated the winds to be between 60 to 70 miles an hour. Off-duty NWS, off-duty National Weather Service employees on Highway 85 here that comes across here. It has a signature here of hail, 2 inches or greater. You can see the pink here. I'll highlight it for you here. So if you're in LaGrange, if you're in Albin, just northeast of Cheyenne, 31 miles northeast of Cheyenne, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning. And there is even an inflow notch here, an apparent inflow notch here coming. I'll zoom in for you. There's a little inflow notch here just to the west of Albin, Wyoming, and 31 miles to the northeast, of Cheyenne. So this is a very severe storm here, producing baseball-sized hail and very strong inflow winds here. And you can see here this area is highlighted for severe thunderstorm warning. A tornado is possible in this area. Tornado vortex signature has been spotted here, and rotation is effect here. Let's turn in the velocity and see what type of rotations we're getting here. And you can see there is some coupling right in here. There's some touching, a broad rotation right in here, just to the west of Albin with Wyoming. We're looking at the Cheyenne radar here, Wyoming radar here. 31 miles to the northeast, there was a tornado signature, TVS vortex signature, possible indicated, radar indicated, but a severe thunderstorm. It's already been confirmed by 2 National Weather Service employees that we have hail coming down, baseball-sized hail, and wind gusts to 70 miles an hour. And that's part of this warning here. I'm going to show you right here. The impacts right here. Albin, Gun Barrel, and Meriden Rest area just off the highway here. I believe that's Interstate 76, I believe, or 25, Interstate 25 in the Cheyenne metropolitan area. 31 miles northeast. Severe thunderstorm warning remains into effect. 5:45 Mountain Daylight Time. We'll go back to the regular reflectivity product here. And you can see, courtesy of radar scope, and you can see these storms. I put them in motion here. They're moving right along in a northeast fashion here. This one here is rotating. This one here has to bring in the hail and the 2-inch baseball-sized hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind straight gusts. So we have to watch this cell closely if they upgrade it to a tornado warning or a watch in the next 30 minutes or so. But it is producing that hail confirmed, and it is producing those straight line winds, as well as this rotation being observed by the radar indicated here. So that's what we have. We had another severe thunderstorm warning in Nebraska. This one is for for northeastern Sioux County. Gale, golf ball size hail, and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So a lot of these storms on the high plains here, as you can see, I'll zoom out here. A lot of these storms are rotating that are coming through the high plains here, like Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Nebraska here. These storms here are producing, coming out of the high plains here of the Rockies and out of the high plains of Wyoming and Colorado, are producing mega hail, 2-inch hail, and wind gusts up to 60, 70 miles an hour. This still here looks ahead toward Chadron, Nebraska. You definitely want to keep an eye on that. 2-inch hail is moving east-southeast at 15 miles an hour, as you can see. All of these are producing severe hail, so you want to bring your cars inside, keep them out of the carport at least, are covered as these storms make their way northeast and approach your location here. I'll zoom out here. That is the only warnings that we have. There's a few. One has a warning in Colorado, same thing. And this is for, once again, for hail. This is in Harrison, Colorado. Harrison, Colorado, once again, is producing those storms there close to the Nebraska border. So these are all the storms that we have. Most of the really severe weather storms are in Saskatchewan, Canada, and Winnipeg, all that area in the prairie lands up north, as you can see highlighted. And that one severe thunderstorm warning in Colorado, southeastern Colorado, that's producing some storms. Elsewhere, we have things pretty clear here on as far as the warnings go across the country. It's just the heat. And that heat is expected to remain throughout the rest of this week. So thank you for joining me here on the Weather Guru podcast. Please be sure to subscribe. If you have any questions, weather questions, or weather things you would like to see or learn about, let me know in the comments. I'll talk to you very soon. Take care.